departure statement coming from the Prime Minister even as he leaves for South Africa. We early in the morning got visuals of him, climbing those steps on the airplane and finally departing towards South Africa. Now, he has put out a statement, but what's more important is that this is a potential time for the Prime Minister to be coming face to face and sharing the stage with the Chinese president.
Which also puts a large question on BRICS as institution, BRICS as a coming together of nations, because when it was formed, it was supposed to be some kind of a counter idea about trying to become one of those blocks that could bring in the emerging economies together. But in that, I think we already know the tensions between the countries in BRICS. So this BRICS summit is going to be interesting to see, because you have India and China not going hand to hand, especially after the kind of situation that we see in the borders. Russia, of course, being completely weakened and sidelined because of the Ukrainian conflict. And of course, Brazil, we had a change in guard in Brazil, and Brazil's priorities have in fact changed. They are looking at trying to integrate themselves more with Latin America at first, and to prop up their own domestic economy. And South Africa is caught in the middle of all this. It wants to in fact progress, but it has its own domestic economic woes to look into, and at the same time it's not in a position to give that jump start that all these countries want through South Africa in the whole of the African continent. So all these issues are there which we need to in fact fairly look at right now.
Absolutely. And the Prime Minister's departure statement ahead of his visit to South Africa and Greece, he says, I'm visiting the Republic of South Africa from the 22nd to the 24th of August this year at the invitation of His Excellency Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, President of South Africa, to attend the 15th BRICS Summit being held in Johannesburg under the South African chairmanship. BRICS has been pursuing a strong cooperation agenda across various sectors. We value that BRICS has become a platform for discussing and deliberating on issues of concern for the entire global South, including development imperatives and reform of the multilateral system. The summit will provide a useful opportunity for BRICS to identify future areas of cooperation and review institutional development. Along with this, Varghese, it says, during my stay in Johannesburg, I will also participate in BRICS Africa Outreach and BRICS Plus Dialogue event that will be held at parts of the BRICS Summit activities. I look forward to interacting with a number of guest countries that have been invited to participate in this event. I also look forward to holding bilateral meetings with some of the leaders present in Johannesburg. From South Africa, I will travel to Athens, Greece on the 25th of August at the invitation of His Excellency, the Prime Minister of Greece. This will be my first visit to this ancient land. I have the honor to be the first Indian Prime Minister to visit Greece after 40 years. Contacts between our two civilizations stretch back over 2 millennia. In modern times, our ties have been strengthened by shared values of democracy, rule of law, and pluralism. Cooperation in diverse sectors such as trade, investment, defense, and culture, from people to people contacts have been bringing our two countries closer. I look forward to my visit to Greece, opening a new chapter in a multifaceted relationship. So this is again, just like that visit to France, just like that visit to Papua New Guinea, Fiji. Of course, the United States was a full-on, full-blown state visit, but this is also going to be really hefty diplomatically.
It is going to be, but when we talk about BRICS as a country, I mean, or a bloc, not as a country, but a group of countries, that is interesting enough that a lot of nations are actually applying to join this emerging group. But the key players in it, that is to say Brazil, India, China, South Africa, Russia, well, it doesn't seem to be the happiest of family, because of course I was saying China and India both, we are not in a kind of a situation where we are in terms having that simmering border conflict that we had. That is going to be one of the biggest problems that we are going to look at. So the BRICS Summit is something that we have to in fact look in as probably a block in which India is involved, but how much of it can be leveraged because of the tensions that already exist in the block is the big question, because right now it looks like only economic interests are there. And though I like the word when
the Prime Minister,
yeah, the Prime Minister leaving for.
What word was it that you liked?
No, I like the way he said it, that it is the voice of the global South, because it is actually speaking about the non-European, what I would call the white Anglo-Saxon bloc actually dictating terms when it comes to the world economy as such. So it's a bloc that actually represents those people who have the potential to emerge ahead of everything. And then at the same time, the issue that we are in fact looking at over here is that will it be able to hold on?
Now take a look at this. It says open mind on BRICS expansion. India-China ties in focus as PM leaves for BRICS Summit today. No word yet on the Modi-Xi meeting. Officials say schedule is still evolving. But take a look at this. Border row is in mind. The Indian Express puts it like this. After 3 years of the border standoff, the in-person BRICS Summit, well, let's not forget, the 19th round of military talks, again, the same word came out.
BRICS was
we're looking for quick disengagement and no essential headway in that.
And plus there's a domestic politics involved in it, Kabir. Rahul Gandhi was at Pangong Lake and he did make a statement that the Chinese are there. So it puts the Prime Minister in a difficult position in the sense that how to deal with China.
It says it's going to be an important opportunity for Indian and Chinese leaders to meet and agree on normalizing ties. But before that, military commanders have to agree on disengagement of troops in eastern Ladakh. So no word on Modi-Xi meeting. As officials say, the schedule is still evolving. But what's your hunch telling you?
Are we going to see like it's going to be back channel talks?
Modi-Xi,
no, I don't see about both the leaders. Probably, if things don't evolve the way it's supposed to evolve, both the leaders might not meet. But there will be a lot of back channel talks, and there will be certain agreements on what issues are there. For example, the engagement of BRICS with regard to the United Nations, the need to expand certain United Nations institutions that include or represent the current reality of power in the world, which is to say that you need to include China and India into it, and most importantly, India needs to be included in it. And we're talking about probable expansion of the Security Council. You don't have a Global South nation at all in the P5. It doesn't represent the reality of what is happening when it comes to the Security Council. It's just a post-World War II situation that is still prevalent in the Security Council. So those things, we might be looking at India and China giving the similar kind of statements. But at the end of the day, the border conflict is going to make it cold for both these countries, and I think Prime Minister also having the domestic part of it to handle would be very cautious about how he approaches it. But then Prime Minister being the Prime Minister, he could spring up a surprise and you might have a different headline saying that thaw in India-China ties.
All right. And secondly, the second aspect of his visit, when he is going to visit Greece, what about that?
See,
in Greece, he talks about trade, he's talking about defense, he's talking about...
Yeah, there is a reason why we are going to Greece. And the thing is that Greece has a huge animosity with Turkey. It's a historical animosity that is there between Greece and Turkey. And you know how Turkey has been on several issues supporting Pakistan, especially when it comes to Kashmir. There have been several incidents where it has taken a very anti-India kind of an approach. And Erdogan, which his great vision of trying to, resurrect the Ottoman Empire again under his glorious reign, since he's been the president for such a long time.
After the earthquakes, he was elected the president of Turkey again.
Yeah.
Right.
So, though there is growing dissent in Turkey against him, but it's not the way it would have affected his power equation. But he's got this grandiose plan about it. And in that, he's been attacking India ever since. And, ironically, Greece as well as Turkey are part of the NATO bloc, but both of them don't share a grade 1 homie. And it is also part of how we are looking at an axis. Remember, there is an axis that has formed between Turkey, Azerbaijan and Pakistan, and it was quite evident in the war with Armenia. We have recently been arming Armenia as well with our Pinaka rockets, with radars. We have been trying to help Armenia, and now we are also looking at Turkey's arch rival, which we call as, which is Greece, in fact. And we have been trying to expand our footprint with the Greeks, and we've been trying to engage them not only trade but also defense ties, and also to, in fact, show our displeasure about how Turkey has been speaking about our situation, especially in Kashmir.
But India did lend that helping hand to Turkey.
India did. When the earthquake, of course, when the earthquake came, India did.
Approaching BRICS expansion with positive intent, says the Foreign Secretary Vinay Quatra. He says India is approaching the issue of expanding the BRICS, the Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, grouping with a positive intent and an open mind. He's also quoted on saying that a large number of countries have expressed interest in joining BRICS. Quatra told a media briefing that there is a considerable interest in becoming part of the bloc to leverage opportunities for cooperation. We have been very clear that we have a positive intent and an open mind when it comes to the BRICS' expansion.
See, you know, one thing about our
what's it going to be called? BRICS Plus? BRICS
It
Pro?
might be BRICS Plus. It might
BRICS
be a
Pro?
BRICS Plus, but
BRICS
I
Pro
think
Max?
let's keep it at BRICS Plus.
Speculation grows over PM Xi meeting at BRICS. So essentially, even as the Prime Minister is in the air somewhere, he's going to be, nearing South Africa, and he's got expansive 2 days, 22nd till the 24th in South Africa. Various other BRICS, events, some external side hustles, also side BRIC hustles. Those are also going to be attended. There are a lot of people that are going to attend, and these are happening at prominent areas in and around Johannesburg. Really cultural places in and around
also one thing
Johannesburg.
that I have seen a trend that is there is that India tends to keep its economic interests separately from the geopolitical interests.
Well, absolutely.
I mean,
And Prime
right,
Minister
so that
Modi and Dr.
we don't
S.
lose
Jaishankar
out. Yeah, they have been in a way able to, because of
today
that
even
kind
the
of.
youngster is talking about the foreign policy, and that's important.
So that is the thing about it. You know, they have made a very intelligent way of keeping trade going on at the same time, so that economic ties are not affected, but being assertive on the geopolitical front as well, and saying your displeasure with the person saying that, of course, I have a huge displeasure with you. So, since they've been able to move this very tightrope kind of a policy, I think it has paid dividends. But then there are people who would say that it is a tightrope walk that you're doing. But however, it's paid dividends till now.